Cindy, did you get an upgrade on your owl? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bring up sore subject.
It's a sore subject today. Well, we bought the owl for this meeting room, and we got the version, updated news version.
Right.
And sometimes you don't like to listen to people.
No audio.
Right. Yeah, I can hear. Okay. Yeah, that's what he wants.
I understand. I get kids.
I know we get so dependent on that stuff, and it's like the internet went down in my house the other day. And I thought, oh, shoot, all my stuff. I can't even turn on my lights anymore without internet.
Isn't that true? It becomes so dependent.
Yeah.
You can't teach without it anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why the state's kind of pushing back.
You guys open this?
Yeah,
I
I
did.
worry sometimes about how our kids, simple things that we learn as everyday stuff, they don't even have any concept of.
It's hard to see that on a laptop.
Yeah. And I'm thinking sometimes the experiences that you have, it's also immediate with internet, that it's like the value of learning something because you actually have to physically do it.
Of course, then on the other side, you got YouTube. If you don't want to do something, YouTube will tell you.
That's good. Well, I'll just YouTube it.
My 41-year-old son will do just about anything because of YouTube.
Yeah. I know I went up to Columbus this weekend, my kids live in Ohio, and I paid at the grocery store this week, did some grocery shopping, and my son had given his wife his phone, and she came out, she goes, Mom paid for it, he goes, Mom, I have a card. I said, I have a Prime card, and he goes, you have a Prime card? Yes, I got that backwards.
How did that happen?
Yeah. How long you had one of those? 10 years, son.
Next week, we don't have to go back and just our discussion.
Yes, it does. Goodness.
I don't know about that.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, maybe more. Becky was waiting on me.
Okay, we'll resume our budget hearing meeting, county council. And yes, Travis, would you be ready?
Well, thank you for another opportunity for another year to come and talk about the airport.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So first, I just want to start off with, I'm Travis McQueen, Airport Manager at Huntingburg Airport. Behind us today, we have a couple board members finishing out. our airport board president, and Becky Beckman, who you all know is our current airport board treasurer. So thank you guys for being here today and supporting our presentation. Just want to highlight kind of introduction and key milestones of the airport. Thank you for the continued collaboration, partnership, and shared vision of the airport and the county moving forward. The biggest highlight I think that we could talk about is the Frost Jones Terminal building. We're thrilled to invite you guys over for a ribbon cutting ceremony on August the 31st. So if you want to put that in your calendars, it'd be great to have you at 9 a.m. Everybody, Sandy, Brooke. Want to make sure that you guys are welcome to be there. We plan to have some local elected officials and maybe a statewide official that was part of the original groundbreaking night. And so this project's been an absolute success, made possible by the tools that you, the Du Bois County Council, has enabled us to make the project move forward. That was, of course, the $1 million line of credit and the $500,000 grant. So thank you so much for that. One of the things I just want to highlight is the project is complete. We're wrapping up punch list items. Final payment hasn't went out yet, but we've done it and we're not in debt. Unlike some other folks in the community, maybe, we're not in debt. So I'm very thankful for your support and enabling us having the tools to make that happen. Aviation education, workforce development. Tomorrow, today's first day of school, as you folks with the kiddos know. Tomorrow we have 26 students coming to the airport to start their aviation programming. That's juniors and seniors, yes, from Pike County this year. It's kind of a new one that some of the students coming over from Pike, Spencer, and Du Bois County schools. So all 4 Du Bois County schools are going to be plugged into that program. We have just a great opportunity for students. We're talking about down the road looking at an expansion of the aviation programming at the airport. So that might include not just kind of the pilot and general aviation track, but also an airframe and power plant kind of tracks. So more the technical hands-on in aviation, if you're making, fixing airplane parts and components and things like that. But that's another conversation for another time and down the road. But we've had some internal discussions about that. The big motto that I like to share with you is engaging our future and controlling our destination through aviation youth programming. So I really believe, I just got off the phone this morning, some of you may know, may not know, Will Sternberg, one of our success stories. I say he went from 0 to hero in 4 years. He came through the airport aviation program, Jasper High School graduate, went through Purdue's program, and in 4 years, he got all of his ratings. Now he's flying for Delta Airlines. So there was another airline he flew with before, and I just got phone with him this morning. He can't wait to come back. Him and his fiance, local girl here from Jasper, they're going to be getting married shortly, and they're looking long-term to buy a house here in Jasper. But he's so excited and thankful for the program. And he's a great case in point and a success story to show our current students when he comes back to the classroom. He can kind of, give the breadcrumb trails to, hey, this is what it takes to be successful, and flying for a major airline is a big deal. So want to mention that industrial shifts, we've seen a lot of the, we'll call it crop dusters, continue to see a little tapering off. Last year, they leased office space from us for like 2 months. This year, it was only 1 month. You're seeing more drones take up that space where the crop dusters traditional with aircraft would do the spraying, and helicopters. I think most of us know local sprayer here in the northwest side of the county. He's picked a lot more business as well. But the crop dusters are mostly using the drones today. So that's a little bit of a shift in our industry, and that takes away from our fuel sales, quite frankly, to be honest with you. Facing some challenges and options down the road. Hangar leasing and market rates. While we were successful in implementing many rate increases for private users over the last 3 to 5 years, and some of those users had 20% increase over a 1 year time period. Some of our private T-hangars folks were receptive of that, and they bit the bullet and went along with us. The corporate entities resist paying true market rates, on lease renewals. This dynamic inhibits our capacity to grow, remain self-sustaining, and reach our budgetary goals. The FAA guidance and local pressures, the FAA recommends aligning our hangar rents to commercial warehouse spaces, or at least rental space in the local storage places. And some of those rates go anywhere, flex from 67 cents a square foot to $1 per square foot. Those are the benchmarks the FAA recommends. We have shared this with you folks over the last 2 years. Unfortunately, we've faced some political pressure to maintain substandard rates, resulting in outside political friction, including the removal of one of our board members from the airport authority. So just want to put it on the table for you and let you guys know a little bit about that as well. Strategic opportunities, infrastructure and economic growth. The opening of the Frosty Jones Terminal building positions us to leverage the front door to our community, potentially in line with the Mid-States Corridor, the Huntingburg Airport Technology Park, and possible future hangar expansions. I know we have a demand and a need right now to continue to build out the infrastructure, and that hangar infrastructure is really important to us. You guys partnered with us in 2014. We built a hangar unit. That investment perpetuates monthly payment to support and sustain the airport. So we really believe in those kind of investments and partnerships. Corporate partners, again, recent acquisitions from some of the corporations in the area, including HNI's acquisition of Steelcase and MasterBrand, basically, does continue to point towards continued use of the airport and their corporate flight department. Now, we know that some of the corporate leaders have been relocated and moved to different positions, but those corporate flight departments are still used at the airport, and it seems like their operations are at least increasing. So that's a good thing for us all. Core services and expansion. We continue to remain committed to serving the flying public. That's aircraft rental, that's flight instruction, hangar space, aviation fuels, and we plan to continue to add additional capacity. So it might be another aircraft. And then we're also partnering with youth programming and outreach organizations like Boy Scouts of America presented to the airport authority last night. We wanted to do an encampment, 300 kids, Boy Scouts, they want to bring out to the airport. So we'll see how that all shakes out. And then we have an existing great long-term relationship with Civil Air Patrol. Some budgetorial summary. The long and the short is we're sitting on the same budget numbers that we sat on last year, and we're really proud of that. We're doing a lot with a little. We take advantage of a lot of the General Services Administration. So as a federally funded airport, we can secure assets for either next to nothing or they're close by. And we use that to the fullest tilt and to keep the airport up and going with assets to move and get work done. Approximately, I believe it's around numbers, Sandy's correct me or slap me one, $180,000 from our general operating budget is from property taxes. And then I forget what the dollar amount is, a little bit over 100, I'm speculating here, 130, 140 is what we get for a CUNY fund. So the 180 is for gen, and the 140, 100, whatever it is for a CUNY fund. Our strategy is to offset this by growing our customer base and tenant base, specifically through increase, I say hangar capacity, but just think hangar capacity. Higher fuel volumes, flight student activity, so the folks are in and using our assets at the airport, which drives directly to our local revenues to sustain the airport. I mentioned our cumulative building fund for 2027 is going to be $300,000 just to kind of have it there in case we got some projects we want to work on. So again, echo our continued appreciation and partnership with the airport. We couldn't do what we do today without the Du Bois County Council as being a partner of ours and making things happen. So thank you so much. Questions you might have?
Sleep because of lunch.
Oh, is that right? Did you guys hear that comment? I will repeat it, but I do want to mention, Ken might have some comments you want to make. Ken?
I would like to make a couple of comments. Someone a lot more famous than Oliver Bay used to say, I'll give you the rest of the story. And Travis talked about the pressures we received on this leasing. The first thing I'm going to say is that none of us board members were leasing experts of any kind. None of us are even in the real estate industry. So we started out with the original leases and which said any renewals, and keep in mind these leases were written 30 plus years ago, any renewals could go up to 20% of the replacement value of that building. So our feeling was, well, that's a starting point. So we started there. Well, that didn't fly very well at all. So we went back to the drawing board and said, well, what can we use? So then as an ex-banker, I went to the people I knew and said, what do you rent warehouse space for? What do you rent office space for? Because that's really what it turned in my mind, what a commercial terminal is. It's a warehouse to store airplanes, and it's an office where they have their operations from. Well, I found it very quickly, airports are not market properties, and that We kept getting pushback from our tenants, no, that's still way too much. You're trying to steal from us, and that was never the case. We were trying to come up with what was a fair number, and maybe I should back up. I was on that leasing committee that tried to come up with those numbers, so if we were doing something wrong, I'm part of that. But anyway, I thought you should hear our side of it. So then, after we decided that wasn't gonna work, we ordered an appraisal. Okay, give us a market value of rental of airports. There are no airports that are the same. Wherever you go, every airport is a little different. Because of that, coming up with comparables, you gotta go out really, really far. Well, some of the tenants thought, well, that's too far out. You got local airports. They're not the same. They don't have the same kind of buildings. They don't have the same length of runway. They don't have the same facilities. So anyway, they ended up getting their own appraisal. We ended up using those two appraisals to come up with the rent. We've been able to use that in 2 more corporate deals. We've been able to lease 3 of the buildings. 2 of them are signed. The third one, we have an agreement. Again, what I'm trying to explain is we didn't come to this from the point of we got to get the most as possible and cover our whole budget just on rental from the couple of corporations. We were trying to find the right way to do it. As I've told the board several times, I got a PhD in airport leasing out of this. It was a learning experience for me on how to do this. We think we figured it out. And again, we've leased 2 more buildings, 2 more of the corporate buildings. I think we got a reprieve now for a year or 2 till the next one comes due. But I just wanted to let you all know, because I'm sure you all received some phone calls from some of these tenants. I know some people on the county commissioners called me and said they got calls, so I have to believe some of you got calls. And I just felt it was important that you heard the airport side of how we got from point A to point B. So, and I'll ask the same thing. Was there any questions from you all on that process?
Or anything in general, just any questions at all, just the building and.
So after you worked the leases through, was both parties happy? I mean, more or less?
Yeah.
So they're both
We're-
tenants
yeah,
and
we're- yeah.
the airport.
So, yeah,
And that's a good thing.
yeah, it was. The first one was Jet, the second one was Best Chairs, and this last one that Ken mentioned was OFS. So, yeah, we're good.
Well, that's good, because we do need them in the community,
We do.
I think, but both of you have to survive, also, so it's
Correct.
good.
Yeah, other questions you might have?
So
You got anything cooking for the land?
Yes, Mr. Colton's back there, and we did submit, it's kind of the highlights of it. Yeah, we did submit, there's an IDC project that came through his office, and we partnered up. Really appreciate his work. He did, he does his job really well. And we put together a package to respond. It was an aviation-related company, Alex, Make It Work Developers, just a short version. And so that's in our sweet spot. So if that would happen, that would change the dynamics of our aviation class, our aviation programming. I mentioned the AMP program, right? Now, all of a sudden, we have a reason to launch those things. And now the kids that are juniors and seniors in high school could get plugged into internships with a company like that. That would be dynamically changing paradigm shift, right? I think that'd be a very good thing for all of us. And then once you get the first one in, then it's easier to, attract, and you get all the support network and workforce development to support that first company and the skill sets. Then it's easier to go with number 2, number 3, number 4, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. So we'll see. I did just get back from Oshkosh. There was one company I met with, the gentleman said, Travis, you have space for this aircraft? And I said I would. And then he said, I got 10, 12 engineers, and they're currently based in Santa Clara, California. So I've got to think that our economical viability of a business and our rents and rates and stuff, everything Ken mentioned, would be more economical and beneficial to a company that's looking to, be in that business than that foreign country called California. Yeah, but we're working that, and I appreciate the question. And that's one of those things that's, you just got to keep fishing, right? You just got to keep going after it, and sooner or later it will hit.
A breakdown of the co-op students by school district?
I can get that for you. I'll get it for you.
Who are you having with Jasperheimer or Southwest and Jasper?
Yeah, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head because I asked I think we have 3 females in the junior class with 15 students. I don't know if I got it written down or not. I think we have like 1 female, is it in there? 1 female in the other class. So one class has 1 female, but it's the breakdown school district. I'll get back to you. Get back
Just
to you.
wanted to make sure Southeast wasn't lagging behind. I have to get on the way.
Okay, yeah. You might know somebody, huh? Yeah. To that point, I saw last week Mrs. Hubbs, she's a graduate, I can't say the word, Kirsten, how do you say the name? Kirsten? That's the word. Hubbs from Southeast. She was one of our program gals that went through our program, got her private house license at the airport, did an internship at Evansville Airport, now getting super successful at Purdue, getting all her ratings and things like that. And she came back and I saw her with about 4 different little guys, and I think she took them up for a ride on Sunday, which was really cool to see that. You know, getting one of those success stories, right? She might be a year or 2 years ahead of our current students, but that's really important that they see that, you know, what's the next step, you know, and have that relationship.
Did you have anything construction related that really set you back or was
That's great.
unfortunate, or was it just a smooth process? Because I never heard.
Nope. I appreciate that question, and I'm excited to answer that question with our total project cost. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Becky or Ken, our total project with the tournament building came in under budget. And that's a wonderful thing. When's the last time you heard a government, if you're doing a job and it came in under budget? You know, you don't hear that. Everything goes over budget. Is that not an accurate statement?
We paid really close attention to the project, and yes, we were all very happy that when we seen the final cost, it was less than the original estimate.
But I would make the point, you know, to that is it was but for our 52% of our contractors were local contractors from Du Bois County. So I could go, I don't have a list with me in front of me. I hate to start mentioning names, but a big portion of that was a company called Seifert Construction, whom we all know. Metaltech Roofing. I hate to name names because they don't remember it all, but Gas or Electric. Yeah, be careful. Yeah, Gas or Electric, Honeyberg Machine Works, you know, some of the ones that I can recall right now. There's a lot of others.
It's great that it came under budget and used a lot of local companies, so.
It made a difference, you know. Those folks are, you know, around for the long haul. And in fact, we got a lightning strike. I mean, we go June 27th weekends when we got a lightning strike, and so some of the local contractors were back out yesterday and last week, you know, fixing some of those problems. So nice to have somebody local. I don't have to wait to call somebody from Louisville or Bloomington or Terrible Road or.
And the board appointee, not mentions this here, is that just a non-renewal by its entity that has a seat at the table and they just decided not to put that person back on the board, or how does that work? Was it he voted off? Or
Yeah,
she?
I think he or she was made it known that they wanted to continue to serve, and then that was the election of the decision of the elected official to make that decision. So,
If I can add something, we just went through a 4-year State Board of Accounts audit. And just kudos to Steve Ozer.
that's right.
Excellent work.
And then he announces he wants to retire on us. Dang it.
That's
3
not
years,
good.
that's gonna cost you, there's your profit.
Sandy's right. It was like, I would say $60-something thousand to cover 4 years because we had so much of that was federal, and federal's, golly, you correct me, it's like,
$1,000 a day.
yeah, $1,000 a day for them to do an audit, you know, is, yes, yeah. So, yeah. There goes all those.
That's one of
money.
those we pay and then get back.
Right. Yeah, full circle. Other questions? Well, again, I would say extend the invitation August the 31st, so it's a Monday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. is the ideal time there. So show up maybe a little bit early. And
Do you have like historical photos of flight history in Du Bois County in the hangar, like anything like that? Or?
yeah, we're working on that. So, you know, it's called the Frosty Jones Terminal Building. He was born and raised in Duff, Indiana. Frosty was, and came to the airport, put together a big coalition of businesses and businessmen, owners to acquire the property for the airport, along with the Honeyberg Kiwanis Club, as I understand. And then he went off to be successful in flying for Eastern Airlines and all that kind of stuff. So we're working on trying to aggregate some of that. We didn't have a lot, but we have reached out to some of his family members. Last week I spoke with one of our local tenants there at the airport who's trying to help and compile that information and to be able to kind of show a little bit more who Frosty was.
That's cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. Yeah, and some of the aircraft that Frosty flew and stuff like that. That'll be kind of on a display there in our glass panel for display. So yeah, that'd be really neat to see that. Because, you know, people walk in and we have nothing, by the way, we have nothing but compliments. I think Becky was out there, was that last week? And
I know that week was gone.
Weeks run together.
yeah, right. So, you know, a lot of comments of new pilots coming to the airport, never been there before, like, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful facility, so.
And the hospitality. You mean, this was a young pilot, and you wouldn't normally hear somebody, but he just sat there and said, in all my travels, I've never had this kind of hospitality.
Which is a good thing, right? That's what we're kind of known for, is Hooters, being hospitable. So, yeah,
I like the wood beams. I feel like I'm flying into Aspen or something.
right? That was the words that came out of Mrs. Ewing that flew through the airport not very long ago. She's like, this reminds me of Aspen, you know? And it is very cool. Yeah, so I can't wait to show it off for you guys. We'll plan to see you on August 31st, at least. Maybe get there before 9 a.m. So, other questions or anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Just so the general
Yeah,
public knows
please.
why you're even here, they are not an elected board, that's why you guys have to adopt their budget.
Yep, so, yeah. So, thanks again, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine, are you ready?
Yeah. This is what they're looking at. This is the budget. Budget. Somewhere errors.
Start on page 18.
This is the wage study we gave you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Christine Pryor. I am the president of the DuBois County Park and Recreation Board. And I submitted our budget for the year. I appreciate that you all did a wage study. And that's probably where the biggest increase that we have this year is in our wages and benefits. I have talked to our superintendent and assistant superintendent. I told them it's not a done deal, but that there's the potential that there will be a substantial raise this year. I agree with that because over the last 10 years that I've been on the board, we've had to replace our superintendent because our previous one retired. But our assistant superintendent, we've had to replace several times. And a lot of times when we were interviewing and we would make our choice and we would make an offer and they found out the salary was, several times they declined the position because it wasn't what they could make outside of the park. And so I appreciate that you guys have looked at that because maintaining our talent, you're thinking, oh, park, it doesn't take that much, but there are just so many different things that are happening. And to have talent that can maintain the equipment, see something that's on the site and make sure it's taken care of, that's important to us. And it's important to those people who come and camp there that they get to know our staff so that if there is an issue, they feel comfortable telling someone about it without feeling like they're doing something inappropriate. So like I said, that is the biggest increase in our budget. The other thing is that starting last year, we took over a lot of our utilities. Previously, they had been being paid by the 4-H council, and then at the end of the year, the 4-H council would do what they call a settlement because they basically used 50% of our staff, and there were some things that they ended up paying for. and then we would kind of settle it out. But we felt as a separate entity, we had more control over our utilities. And so we wanted them to be billed directly towards us. And we feel like what we budgeted is taking care of that. The other thing that increased is because we put the splash pad out there, obviously our water usage was going to be more. So last year's budget increase was utilities, but we feel like we're in line with that again this year. On our non-reverting,
Can I stop you there?
Yeah, sure.
Did you split the meters or something, or how did you do that?
no, what we didn't realize is we already had separate meters.
Okay.
Why they were going to the 4-H council and 4-H was paying them, I do not know. But as I started to suggest that we take care of our own utilities, we found that we already had separate meters. So we didn't have to, because I thought even if it's, we would have to put in meters or something like that, and the utilities came back to us and said, no, you already have separate meters.
Okay, well, thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, so, and like I said, I feel like us having that information versus, we're just paying 50% of the utility bill, because I know at one point in time, I looked at the January utility bill that our 50% was, and I was like, I don't understand this, because we're basically closed during January, and it was pretty significant for what we had going. So I kind of felt like I didn't want to take something away from the 4-H, but I also didn't want us to be paying more than our fair share. So I'm glad that we have this control now, because I can tell that, in the months that we're closed, our utilities are lower than they were when we were doing the 50-50.
Sounds good.
And then on our non-reverting,
It's 2 pages of that if you want to.
okay,
60. Somewhere.
Not reverting 116.
Oh, you're not on 60.
okay. So 2 pages back.
11 and 70.
Okay. Okay, in non-reverting, what we are looking at is that we're trying to kind of build up our equipment savings, because we know that when we replace a piece of equipment, it's pretty substantial. You can't buy anything anymore less than, 15, 20,000. So what we're trying to do is, since within the last couple of years, we've replaced a few things, we are starting to try to put a little bit of that back. So in 2 or 3 years, if we have to buy a new tractor and it's gonna cost us, 50, 60,000, that we have the funds saved up, versus having to come to you guys and say, we need $60,000 for a new tractor that we didn't have in the budget. So we're trying to do that. So we're asking for $15,000 this year. And then in our miscellaneous park development, we're asking for $50,000. One of the things that we will have to do in 2027 is our 5-year park plan. We have had it, and it used to cost us $50,000 for that. And we, obviously, if it's a 5-year park plan, we do it every 5 years. But one of the things that we did do is we went to the city of Jasper and the city of Huntingburg, the town of Ferdinand, and we told them that in the past we had done a Du Bois County park plan. And we included all of their stuff in it. But then we found that some of them were doing a plan on the side, because they'd have a project that they hadn't included maybe in their 5-year park plan 4 years ago. So they would be doing another park plan, and discussions with Indiana 15 and their discussion with Department of Natural Resources, to whom we submit that 5-year park plan, they were saying they would prefer that it not be a full county park plan, that incorporated communities would submit their own park plan. And so earlier this year, we invited the superintendents of the city and town park departments to come in and talk with us and talk with Indiana 15 and discuss that, so we didn't throw it on them, in 2027. By the way, people, we're not doing your park plans anymore. Have fun. So we wanted to have that discussion with them, and they all felt like, yeah, we agree that we're doing side park plans anyway. We probably need to look at ours more in depth as far as our park departments go. So we're still asking for $50,000 because I don't know what the increases are going to be. I am not saying that because we basically knocked out, a third of the plan, that it's going to be a third less, because that's probably not going to be true. So we're asking for $50,000 in our miscellaneous development. If we don't use that all, then obviously that it's non-reverting, so it hangs out there for any other improvements that we may want to do in the future. 2022, we did the campsites. In 2024, we did the activity center. Last year and this year, we've been basically concentrating on the amenities that we had and making sure that they're all in good shape. For example, this year, 2026, we put all new roofs on all of our shelter houses. We're looking at how long do our picnic tables last before we have to replace them. So those are types of things that we're trying to put on a rotation basis so that we don't have those big expenses all at one time. So if we replace, 20 picnic tables this year and 20 next year, what's the value of all of that? So these past couple of years, like I said, we've just been trying to upgrade things because we've had a lot of great compliments on what the new amenities that we've added within the last 6 or 7 years. And we've also seen a major increase in our shelter house rentals, because Shelter House 4, which is next to our activity center, because people can now bring their kids out and have a birthday party right there with all of the amenities for the kids to play with. Carson has said that number of people who are renting that shelter house has greatly increased. And so we're looking at how do we maintain good parking, because before, there was like 2 or 3 parking places, and now if you've got a party up there, you need to make sure that we don't have them blocking the road or parking unsafely. So we're trying to look at some of the parking situations while still maintaining the atmosphere that we have of parkland and forest and trees and so forth. So those are some of the things that we've been going through. I appreciate the council's help on our improvements over the past. I think Carson is doing a great job. He's on top of things. If something comes up, he'll call me and try to get my take on it. And our board is very good about understanding and taking on certain roles to make sure. I know where you need to do some improvements to our shower house. I think it was constructed 20, 30 years ago, and there's some issues with the foundations that we're working out right now. And then we have a few things with some of the trees that are dying, and we're trying to make sure that we get those cut down before they fall down on top of somebody camping. So, we're trying to keep on top of all of that.
One question, the camping, how's that going? Is that staying pretty full?
Yeah, we know we have ebbs and flows, and we know that certain months are busier than others, and a lot of it is weather dependent. When it's really, really hot like this, nobody wants to be sitting in basically a tin can. So it may not be as heavy, but like in September and October, we have a lot. May and June, we usually have a lot. I think usually our busiest weekend is like that July 4th and Memorial Day weekends. I know that in 2013, I think our income from our rentals was like in the around 25,000. Last year it was around 70,000. We've had some slight increases in rent for the camping. We are looking to online. We decided not to do it this year because we still had some questions about how that process would be handled. Our goal is, and there are signs up that say in 2027 it will be online reservations. We're also looking at how do we pay for those, because there's a fee when you rent through that. So do we want to say there's a $5 fee for when you rent, or do we want to increase the per days to absorb that? So we're trying to make sure that we are fair to everyone, at the same time making sure that everybody can enjoy the park. We are looking at what the state is renting their camping sites for. I think they're over $50 per night. We're still in that $25, $30 range. So we know that we could increase it some, but at the same time, we feel like we're a county park. The majority of our campers are residents of DuBois County. So we feel like they've already paid for part of it, but at the same time, you know, it's kind of a pay as you play type thing. So we look at that. We look at making sure that we continue to maintain our park at the highest quality that we can, because we feel like it's a jewel that a lot of people are unaware of.
I have to tend to think when you go into online reservation system, you know, it's going to get pretty full. I think because you're going to draw people that can reserve places, and I think during the comprehensive plan meeting the other night, someone brought up this is the only camping area really in DuBois County.
Yes, it is.
So I mean, you know, it's something I think going to fill up.
Yeah, and I think once we do that, we'll have a better idea of really what the interest is. When we did our master park plan in 2018, one of the things that we did is it was a comprehensive plan, and what we told our landscape architect, Hafer and Associates out of Evansville, we told them, give us a list of things that could be possible, because at first they were saying, here's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And I said, no, just give us a list of everything that's possible with that land. And as opportunities become available, or if we see that there are things that we could do to improve the park, then we'll initiate maybe that phase of the plan. And so there are the potential for like another 150 camping sites out there. And this way, it also helps us to know if we want to do something like that, this is the area to do it. But if we want to do something like this, we don't want to put that in that area. That should go over in this area. So we know that any things that we might want to add, we know where they should go, because we don't want to have to put something in and 5 years later say, oh, now we got to move that because this should have been there. So, you know, like I said, that was 2018. And when we got it and we saw the, you know, $3-4 million price tag, I said, don't worry about it. It's not like we're going to get this done in 5 years. This is really our 10-12 year plan.
I'm glad you're looking forward to the future.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think when you move to the online reservations too, you will attract people from beyond DuBois County.
Yeah.
And that is also good for people.
Well, because quite frankly, I'm amazed. Sometimes I'll be talking about the park and people are like, where is that? And I said, you know, just south of the 4-H fairgrounds. And they just kind of stare at me because they have no idea that it's back there.
Mhm.
And so I think if we can go online, we can have tourism then do more promotions of that area. I have a couple of ideas in my head that I would like to incorporate to maybe increase the visitors out there. We don't really want to run programs. We feel like that's 4-H's responsibility. But as a volunteer board, we don't want to get too much into that, but we want to make sure that there are things there that DuBois County residents can enjoy and visitors to this area can enjoy. Because like I said, I think it really is a jewel of our county.
I just camped at a city-owned campground in Fort Wayne, and what they do when you online book, I didn't know it, but any resident outside of Allen County, I believe, or Wayne County, whatever it is, they send a tourism guide before you. Luckily, it gets to you, hopefully, if you don't book right away, it'll get to you before you go travel to the campground.
Right.
And I think, I was like, I didn't know they had this in Fort Wayne. Or I was like, we utilize that because we weren't, they don't send them to the locals, but I think that'd be a good little collaboration that would cost basically nothing with the tourism board.
Yeah, because they've asked us in the past, like, I think sometimes Patoka does a fishing tournament. And since we're just basically right down the road from them, they asked us about doing some reservations. And we were reluctant to do that because if we're saying, okay, we've got 15 sites for you guys to use for your tournament applicants, then we have 15 sites that we have to take away from county residents, and they're used to just coming out there and getting their space when they want. So that was one of the reasons why we didn't want to go to online this year. We wanted to give the campers that are there frequently. So there's like a thing up by the shower house. In 2027, we're going to online so that they start to get used to that. Because we will, if you drive through there, sometimes you'll see that there's just a car parked in one of the camping sites. That's because somebody came out Wednesday night and wanted to make sure they got their parking spot for Friday night and Saturday and Sunday. So they're willing to pay those extra 2 days to make sure they get it. And somebody asked us, they said, well, you may not get those extra 2 nights. And I said, but I think if people know that they've got that, they're more likely to rent it because it's not like they would be, well, if we drive out there and there's nothing left, then where do we go? So I think now that they'll know that they've got the camp site reserved, and we'll have to make sure that there's, some things about if you cancel, you have to cancel so much in advance in order for you to get a refund.
Otherwise you pay for a day.
Yeah.
Any other comment?
I had some feedback at the fair, the grounds look really good, and that Carson and the new assistant were doing a good job.
Yeah.
At least 5 people came up and told me that.
Well, and one of the things that we did a couple of years ago, we used to always have summer help. So we had college kids and high school kids, and we still do that. But one of the things that we did a few years ago was we started hiring some people who were retired, and they're kind of all year instead of just the summer. So if, for example, a storm goes through in February, Carson has a couple of people that he can call and they can come out and, we can get some things cleared up without having to, overburden them as far as we've got 2 full-time people, and certain times of the year things need to be done. And if we open in April and the kids are still in school, he didn't always have the staff he needed to get it ready for camping. We've also had people calling to see if we could open earlier, because when people go on spring break, they wanted to come. And the only thing with that is we turn off all of the water to all the campsites during the winter. And so we like to stick with that April 1st date, because usually by then, there aren't going to be any really cold nights that the water lines would freeze. So that's our target date. And while I would love to be able to say, yeah, come out and camp if you want during spring break, it's just that iffy thing that if it really gets cold then or something.
Thanks. I think, does anybody have any questions? I guess we kind of ran through the fund here. I didn't see anything way out of line. I mean, like you say, the wages are actually something, and some of these changed. Part-time help and that kind of thing, but I don't see anything. That's someone wants to review everything. I just don't see any questions. I don't have any questions, I guess. So otherwise, I guess I appreciate you coming in, Christine.
Well, and again, I appreciate all of you, and if you ever do have any questions about anything that's going on at the park, or if somebody says something, sometimes we just don't know, and sometimes I know a couple times we had people who would say something, well, he doesn't do it the way Bob did it. Well, that's because he's not Bob.
That's right.
So, but we really do try to make sure that we're trying to keep people happy, because we really do enjoy the park. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Colton, yes.
Keep it rolling.
Come on up and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Sandy told me I have an hour, is that right?
No, I did not tell you that.
Not gonna go through necessarily everything in there, so don't freak out. But we'll hit some of the highlights. But Colton Pippinger, I'm the executive director of Du Bois Strong Economic Development Corporation. Just here to go through it. You guys all good? Yeah. So as you flip through there, instead of just projecting it, I'll just kind of go through that first slide that you see there, kind of starting at the top. Jobs, produce the income, generates taxes, or generates housing and retail, right? And really the county funding that Du Bois Strong receives for the fee for service creates this kind of shared economic development capacity that employers, towns, cities, right, they all operate by themselves. So we kind of really bring that together, connect employers, communities, infrastructure, housing, and then, those all cross different jurisdictional boundaries. We do this through our 4 focus areas of comprehensive business retention expansion, out and about, talking to employers, see where we can help, talent attraction and retention. So that's the big key driver for a lot of our manufacturers that employ about a third of employment in manufacturing. Quality of place, you all know, and then obviously infrastructure enhancements. How do we continue on some of the infrastructure you make and capitalize on those? And looking at that through what we call the 4P matrix, right? It's a program, project, policy, and partnership. You guys can kind of read through. And this is all a very high level kind of selected, pick through. There's a lot of other things behind the scenes that we're doing. Just kind of wanted to give you guys a little taste of it. And then a dashboard that will probably be slipping out to you guys, as you guys can see there. Housing progress against our 2023 housing study, projects that we're tracking from industry partners that might not come across your table or the city table, but meaningful investments coming through kind of the pipeline there. A little over $20 million through 5 different companies planning projects or expansions and increases. And we want to make sure we're guiding in the right direction there. With that, a big component, kind of the bread and butter, is our business retention, expansion, and attraction. 29 visits to different companies so far this year, getting out and about in the community, trying to hit all 4 corners. Sometimes it's just myself, sometimes we'll bring in some community partners like the Southwest Indiana Workforce Board, Vincennes University Business and Industry. Andrea Lindy's a good partner from the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. She just was here last Friday, 2 Fridays ago. We went around and did a few different employers. Oh, I'm sorry. And then the other big piece that we do is site selection. Travis mentioned it a little bit ago, called an RFI, and that's what's on the left side of your folder there. We get these, that's just an example of a common one, I would say. But as we flip through there, some key metrics, I think the average and the median of all of them. So we've received actually 40, I got one late last night, one early this morning, projects. And these are either they selected the state of Indiana as a whole, or they selected specific counties and regions within the state of Indiana. But those next couple of slides there that you see, the average jobs and then the median jobs. Those averages are really skewed by some outliers. We're seeing large projects coming across our desk, right? High wages, high capital investment, high land use requirements. But what's really interesting is the utility metrics. On average, we're seeing 44 megawatts of demand being asked for from projects. That's massive. There's a few data centers that we have not gone after, right? There's a few other just large industrial projects asking, but the median demand is really around 8 megawatts. To put all of that into perspective, I don't know when Huntingburg updated their website last. I went to call the utility office one day, and they have a little blurb. Their full system was 36 megawatts, and they peak out at about 20 megawatts whenever they updated their website last. So double, close to double demand, close to half the city of Huntingburg is the average demand or median demand we're seeing from projects. This isn't just data centers or just one type of projects. This is just large manufacturers, large companies. It's a lot of power to operate nowadays, some of the heavy machinery. And then likewise with the water, right? 1.4 million gallons per day is the average, 150,000 gallons per day is the median, and then sewer and wastewater. To put that into perspective, Huntingburg's new wastewater treatment plant that's finishing up will have about 3.5 million gallons per day wastewater treatment, just to put it in perspective there. So we're seeing large investments and large. The other one I'd be remiss if I didn't say is distance requirements. On average, we're seeing about 13.5 miles, and on median, we're seeing about 12 miles from a highway or interstate. Typically, we'll see, every now and then we'll see a 2-lane highway, but typically these are interstate requests and requirements that we see. So again, large projects, but also shorter timelines, looking for infrastructure readiness and site readiness. Utilities are now becoming the ever clear present, but those are the site selection filters. So these companies that are looking at utility requirements off the top now. It used to be we can get it there at speed to market now. That's how fast can we get there? Is it ready? Can it support us? Or is it a 3-year build out for transmission lines and substations, right? And then access, highway and interstate priority are still, proximity are still major cuts in the first round there. And if you look at that paperclip on the left side there, this was just, I tried to find kind of the average median kind of project, and this is all we get when we get leads from the state. There's a little bit more through email, how to save documents and where to upload. But this is a pretty typical what we'll get from the state and see and have to kind of make decisions off of that. So when you see we've received 40 requests for information or RFIs, we really don't qualify it and would be attracted to about 3 or 4 of them that we've responded to, one of which being the one that Travis mentioned earlier. Moving into kind of more local and existing as business retention, expansion, and attraction. We have an enterprise loan fund program. Those dollars originated from the USDA before my time, but nevertheless an active loan fund. But in 2026, I'm proud to say we've done 4 loans this year so far, totaling over $100,000 in those loans for small business startups. And those really key drivers are attracting or keeping or retaining jobs. So even if you're one employee, you still retain the one job, but it's also a lot of people that grow and expand as well. We've seen everything from a complete new business startup to somebody moving from their garage to a storefront to marketing dollars. But active loans, we have about 10 at about $250,000 total that we've loaned out. Obviously, they're in various stages of repayment, but that's a program I'm pretty proud of there, kind of starting up that small business spirit there. Again, scraping the high level things, talent attraction and retention. You guys have heard me talk about Inkcodes a lot, I believe. We'll have another press release coming up here soon with that, but that top right box, finding ways to share risk, housing variety and options. I did find it interesting, the county comp plan, that 80% of people said they want housing within existing cities and towns, which is a big priority for Inkcodes, kind of that infill housing. It was a large number of single-family homes and about half of starter homes, which was interesting to me. As some of the other metrics, I know those pictures are small for you all, but we're pretty overbuilt in single-family homes. But some of those infill and starter homes, I think, are a good kind of segue into product types that we don't typically see in Du Bois County, but still fit the kind of context of the neighborhood. So there'll be more information as we roll out the codes there. But the big takeaway for me was that we're seeing about a 50% reduction in the rate at which we build houses from the 1980s to the 2010s. We're building half as less homes. That's square feet requirements, that's construction costs and lumber and wood and just labor in general. But that's why there's still a big need for housing. We're just not building it. So you start to get into a chicken or the egg, right? Are people not moving here and there's no demand for housing, or are people not moving here because they don't have homes? A lot of people say the latter. When you have homes and housing and opportunity and jobs, you can build the houses and sustain it.
What about like a little tiny home colony? Are you looking into that?
We're not specifically looking at it. It would be more so like Jasper Hunting and Urban Ferdinand right now are part of Inc. codes with us and going through some of their UDOs and planning and zoning. It's more so like the old Sanborn maps, how those lot sizes are, I hate to call them shotgun style, but long skinny lots. It's almost impossible to build on those today without getting, 4 different variances or zoning regulations. National Home Builders Association released a metric that was mind-boggling. I think tens of thousands of dollars are just regulatory costs up front. So we're looking to kind of reduce that number. A little quicker, more efficient for builders, a little more better price points because you remove some of those regulatory barriers, but also just dense housing. One of the things they look at is tax value per acre. And again, press release coming out, but as a sneak peek, I think it was Huntingburg and Ferdinand are about 1.3 times more productive in the old kind of urban core compared to the new subdivision. I think Jasper is 1.6 more efficient in a tax value per acre. So it's a far better use of land to build kind of that infill development in some of the older style houses, just because it generates more tax revenue per that 1 acre when you have to spread out acres and lots. You have higher home values, but you have less tax value per acre to provide all the services: sewer, water, police, trash, fire, right? All the services. We're not having to run new lines of new power, new water out there. All that aside, it's really just the tax value. So it's an interesting concept, and we'll make sure you guys are on the distribution list when we send out a press release. Either today or tomorrow, probably. And then still kind of continuing on that housing front there, kind of a quick flash here for just a talent attraction website. Right now, if somebody's not from the area and doesn't know anybody here, when you Google Du Bois County or Jasper, Huntingburg, right, what pops up? What do you see? I've heard the story of somebody heard, they heard about a deer walking in somebody's front door. Is that the first story we want people to see of Du Bois County, right? And how do we connect you into local groups, local people? How do we, can we give you a Du Bois County ambassador to kind of guide you around? Can we talk to HR departments in nearby counties and say people can live here and work where you're at? Let's give you kind of a familiarization toward Du Bois County, but really just kind of a front door for people and for industry, just because that employer growth requires labor, and the labor market's tight across the U.S., but specifically in our county, we're in the 2% unemployment rate. So 600 people at any given time, right, are unemployed and seeking employment. So any growth kind of needs to have that employment base. So that's housing supply, but ultimately population and employment determine your tax value, tax services, and tax base. So just kind of having a front door and a place for people to go and navigate. And then obviously infrastructure, the biggest infrastructure project I think this county has ever seen or might ever see ever, the Mid-States Corridor. Just wanted to put that up there. Obviously, Hayesville, wastewater, and things like that, working through some of those projects, but did want you guys to make sure you guys saw the newest press release from NDOT. New jobs, new households, and I think they said $8 billion of impact is the number there, but the largest gains being obviously manufacturing, but also agriculture spend and kind of growth that we'll see there. We'll hopefully here soon have some grant funding to look at a value add agriculture product that we can work on, or project we can work on. But that growth and that infrastructure really unlocks a lot as we see transportation. So it's a major kind of first strike of if we're in the yes pile or the no pile when it comes to site selection. But all of that really is the culmination you see again, right? Jobs that produce income, generates the housing, provides the market for retail, creates taxes, fund our education, that provides the workforce that attracts the jobs. So really, our job is just to connect all these pieces together as Du Bois Strong before the opportunity that we might have requires them, and we're in the no pile there for site selection, right? So that's Du Bois Strong in a nutshell, right? The county also funds Grow Du Bois County, which for public benefit, if anybody's watching, is a separate kind of project account. The county commissioner and the county council put $40,000 in each year for us to run projects. I have the historical going way back, I think 2014-ish, but it's hard to read, so I cut until about 2022. I started this role in 2024. So one of the first things I did was kind of late 2024, early 2025. So a lot of these I have some historical context, but not intimate knowledge of. But we have about $53,000 of unencumbered funds. The county funds are paying for some of the zoning code rewrites for Jasper Huntingburg credit networking codes, with the idea that those can expand into our Bird's Eyes, our Hollands, our Celestines, right, and continue that growth. Also, if the county writes in the middle of a comprehensive plan with zoning, that'll provide a pretty good foundation and framework there. So we're keeping all of that in mind if the county wants it. But if not, a lot of these principles and housing types can kind of be copied and pasted into all the other communities. Jasper, Huntingburg, and Ferguson obviously just have UDOs. And then also the talent attraction campaign there, that website will be released in the next month or two maybe, but having a big push for that, looking to grow and expand the population base. And then obviously, like I said, $53,000, $701.80 unencumbered, and 40,000 of that was this year's allocation. So it's nice to kind of have that project funds in a separate account that we can keep going forward with that. But happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners question you on those funds, right, on the Grow Du Bois County funds?
Yes, we had a good dialogue with the commissioners, just kind of, I think the trajectory we're on now compared to maybe what was funded in the past. Again, intentionally I cut 2022 just because things before that really aren't maybe so relevant anymore. I'm happy to give you that list, or I can pull it up really quick, but a lot of it's studies that have sat on shelves. And that's just not my MO. I'd like to think, right, like, we have a 2023 housing study that told us to go look at zoning codes and look at rewrites and housing variety. So that's what we're doing, and that's what these funds are going towards. Not gonna lie, at some point we might have another study in here, right? But we're gonna use that study. So I think the trajectory we're on with the Grow Du Bois County funds is the right path. And the commissioners voted unanimously to kind of continue that trajectory too.
At the same rate,
Yes.
or the rate requested?
Provides us some stability, honestly, when it comes to projects, and knowing kind of allocation, and knowing what project types we can fit, what project types where we can affect positive change, and knowing that dollar amount with some relative consistency is huge for us.
Anyone else have any discussion or questions? Appreciate you coming in and taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this, again, high level things, happy to grab lunch or swing by the office anytime, happy to chat with anybody about all the things we're up to. But I know I'm the last one of the day and wanted to keep it relatively
Do anything with the corn or soybean processing, or you talk to the soy alliance or the corn marketing people?
Yeah, I was able to make it up to the Indiana Corn and Soy Policy Day up there, so it was some good times. Yeah, up in Columbus, yeah. And then talked with Courtney for about an hour and chatted with her, but those are the grant funds through USDA that actually come on my inbox, it looks like.
Oh, good, so you guys made that connection. Huh?
Yeah, we're in the right path there. I don't want to say it out loud just yet,
No.
to make sure, but
She didn't
We'll
tell
have
me
a lot of
updates, so
public
I didn't know
input.
the last time I talked to you, I talked to you.
yeah, I was able to get on teams and play contact for a little bit, but yeah. Things going well. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Huh?
Yeah.
Colton.
Right.
Commissioners of council, unless it's in those folders, I don't know. I put it into all those folders. I don't know where I'm looking. Maybe she didn't know. Here, I have it.
Is it an online kind of itself?
We've never had it, so if somebody were gonna add, it would be new. I mean, we used to have grant money for them, but that grant's been gone for years.
Hey Sandy?
Yes.
Where's the, line for Du Bois and Du Bois Strong?
Inlet Ed,
With that.
it's 100,000, it's the 60 and the 40.
Can I get the motion about that?
Oh,
5,000.
was it 5,000?
That's what I'm on
Because we need to do that by the commissioners.
Which crisis connection, it does not have enough.
See, we're looking for that one.
I mean, it did come, I came into our meeting and I got this, I wrote down 5,000, 2027, but that was their request.
So if you wanna add that, we're gonna have to add it, because we didn't have any dollar amount on my email. So,
And maybe I dreamt that.
Do you know what?
We'd have to listen to it. I guess it was May meeting.
Yeah, the May meeting, I looked online and the only May meeting that was for us online was, the wage study. We had our regular meetings now on the county website today.
I didn't put the date on there, but some.
the minutes on there?
Found it on the May meeting.
Yeah, it was,
I mean, it wasn't the money, it was just that
It
she
was-
was there.
yes, and requested an amount, but it didn't.
Oh, I did not.
It
I'm
didn't say
pretty
it.
sure it's, I mean, I can look at my notes when I'm home, I didn't bring this with me.
If the main meeting's not online, we need to get it online.
Yeah, the May 18th meeting.
Do we have to bring that in front of the commissioners then again, or can we just add it as
You
a
can just
council?
add it.
So,
Yeah, May 18th for solid waste minutes and commissioner minutes, but there was nothing for our council. May 26th, that's when we were doing
So at the 18th meeting, it has them in minutes, and that they requested, but it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't have the amount, I wrote it at home in my diary somewhere.
Yeah,
It sounded right what you thought.
it just says she's requesting funding from Union County, and it's.
water,
Oh,
I
we did.
wrote down on there too.
There was a thought.
Oh,
I'd say
I
that's,
didn't catch that.
it's probably.
There's a meeting on May 18th for the county council
Yeah.
and the 26th.
26th was the wage study. The 18th was the regular meeting.
You're looking at 27.
Yeah, I don't check my calendar. Oh, no, that was a holiday. Yeah.
Council meeting and the commissioner meeting that day. So, on the very-
Memorial Day was on the 25th, so we moved it. Oh, you got it, okay. It is 5,000. Thank you.
We can just add it into the budget.
Give me the right date to look forward.
Did you, was that a note you took?
And that's my notes, yeah.
Right.
Good. Sometimes I do great, so. 49.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that.
Say Sandy, do we have to read every one of these for each township?
No. You guys can, okay, for the non-binding review, I've given you the capital improvement plan for the townships. I've given you the estimated levies for all the taxing units, and I've given you the property tax cap, proposed tax caps. And that's what you guys can look over, and then if you have recommended changes, you have to say what you want those changes are. So that, on the top sheet, we just said if you have changes, say what changes you want. If you don't recommend changes, say no, and then we'll just say no changes. Recommended.
So let's start these on one end or the other and start looking at them. And then we'll,
Yeah, sorry, I got some.
There's 3 different things, so.
what's this here?
And then the letter is a compilation of what you guys determine.
Okay, no changes or recommended changes, okay, I follow it now.
Now, some of the units you will not have letters for because you adopt their budgets.
She's gonna look at it right now.
Nothing else is missing. Nothing else is missing. There's, yeah.
Like, max levies, max levy, let's talk about, so, do you, I mean, you review them, but whose word are we taking that's correct? We want, let's say max levy is $9,000 or $9,006, where does that number come from?
The state sets that.
Well, the state does, so there's really, if we sign no change,
Well, you're not saying no change, you're saying no recommend, you're not making any recommendations to change.
so if there's a mistake here,
It's non-binding. It's non-binding, whatever you tell them, if you say lower your budget, if you say don't use all your levy, if you say, it's non-binding.
Okay.
And so you think it's 5,000 we need to add for?
Yeah, it does not say, it just says 70%. And she's requesting from each of the surrounding counties.
See, I don't think she ever made an amount, but maybe I missed it.
I have 5,000.
I mean, I wrote down 5,000, you know, when she
Gave
presented
that flyer.
all around, she.
Yeah, we don't
You can
have that
this if you
flyer.
wanted, but this is what I,
Now, see, I just had my email, I didn't get any of that.
yeah, she handed that out and I just wrote it down.
That's what I have.
Did she?
So we should have caught that in minutes.
Yes, we should.
Doesn't
We probably
matter.
should have got
You
it.
can still add it to the budget.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I
I'm just
think
thinking, you know, we could.
we didn't approve it or anything, I think she just requested it.
Right.
Because I think that's what it said in the minutes too, that it was just,
It just basically says what's in that email, 70%.
Yeah, because this is all I had to write the minutes by. So, where do you want to add it? That's the question. What fund?
I mean, isn't it similar to what the commissioners
I
approved?
mean, that's what I think, because you have all those other ones,
Like
the
the
servers
museum.
and the, yeah, museum and.
What's that over, that just inflates our budget more, and we've got to cut. General fund,
So in the commissioners, you want to add $5,000 for crisis connection.
That's what
I think they all have.
I think.
Can we just approve it if Chicken sandwiches.
Do you want your sheet, do you want your paper back?
Not necessarily, you can keep it. I just put it, I had to put it in the 2027, my 2027 budget book, forward.
So we're adding it to the commissioner budget?
Does that make sense to you too? I mean, otherwise we could go to lit, I guess. Crisis connection, it's not a government, it's just a volunteer system.
Like a nonprofit, yeah.
They're not total volunteers, that's,
And they just get funded by private donations and
they do have grants and such, but the grants have been decreased,
Oh.
I shall say. And if I remember correctly, that's why she was coming around to, she was just making up just for that shortfall from the surrounding counties.
I think that's something good.
I think it is, and if I'm not mistaken, Dean, I think they try and do other things, fundraising wise, even to try and
Oh,
supplement that as well. So I mean, they've got skin in the game. It's good.
Absolutely.
It's a great,
Right.
we can help on that way.
Well, the only other thing you can do is Monday, I can ask the commissioners at their meeting.
Yeah.
If they support it, then we'll continue to add it.
Did she go to the commissioner? Did she go to the commissioners at all?
I don't remember her coming there, but
Which way do you want to go with this one?
I'll take that one. Or do you start with that? That goes to the, there you go.
actually,
No pressure. So you're taking it
we'll
away.
take the meeting for Monday.
It does. 3 pages.
I didn't sign, I'm sorry.
No, I was just kidding. We're just talking about this. It's just-
I need the initial there. I should have, might grab it away from you.
I did, I snatched it right out of your hands.
And he laughed as he did it.
Very true.
It's there now. The minutes are up. She'll open them up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner was TV.
Sandy didn't have any more trouble with the audio, the rest seems through. I don't know what that is. It's like catch something wrong.
The owl hates me. No, we haven't had any issues since.
Well, we are kicking him out past this business.
Yeah. I need to turn his eyes off. They're kind of freaky.
No, I haven't.
I think it says 2. If I can read right.
Thank you. So when we, on the 18th, and next Tuesday, when we hit it, all the other budgets or funds, we will hit those then on the 18th. Like you said, lit ed and that kind of thing.
Yeah, they're all under your.
So we would do those at that time.
I think that's the last one before discussions on it.
Right, I think the only thing that might not be on here is the planning budget. I didn't see that on there, but that's Region 15, we have a tax rate for that fund, and it's so much per capita, that's all we do. That budget's in there. But we should hit everything else.
And the only one I need to get back with community corrections, he's got a list of everything that's changed prior to coming in. I could get that email, and send me that email prior, so we could study it before the 18th, if that's okay with everybody on community corrections.
What kind of changes are you talking about?
I don't think there are changes, how he moved funds around.
Oh,
And he's got a pretty, it seems like it's hard to follow because it's so many funds.
yes,
I think I
he has a
have
bunch
it
of
if you
funding
need
streams.
Pardon me?
I think I have it if you need it.
Well, he sent it to me, and he just wanted to know if I had any questions prior to the meeting. And I just, I didn't know if the council wanted to see it, I can forward that also. Because it's kind of, well, like I say, when you look at the budget book, it's just a lot, he'll split his pay into 2 different funds, and, it's pretty complicated to follow.
His is,
Pardon me, I think community corrections.
Yeah, you almost need his spreadsheet of funding streams to know where and what's coming from where.
Because you can follow it then, the way he's got it. I'll just forward it. And if you have any questions, we
Hopefully
can.
it's on there under yours. Yeah, under your time, we have lit, CCD, CR tax, regional planning, tourism,
Next,
next time.
that's what I thought. whenever all these are approved, or if there's no changes on these three
Thanks for that.
sheets, then I guess we'll have to. So is there any changes on those? So do we need a motion?
Nope.
Just to read
Nope.
them, just to state?
Oh, for the non-binding reviews, yes. Sorry.
Do we do all three of them individually?
You can do them all together. Unless, I mean,
Okay, guess I'll, looking at them, there's no changes, so I have to sign off on it as the president of the council. So I'll just entertain a motion that we reviewed these and they were approved with no change,
recommending no changes.
or recommending no change. So I'll make that statement.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Sonia has made a motion. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Michael Stallman is seconded. Sonia made a motion. Further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And then I'll sign these with no changes.
I'm gonna try to get in to Gateway here so I can kind of show you a little bit about the levy and we are under Gateway 2.0 now. The state changed it and made it more,
Was that just the other day, or?
feels like it. Come on. Okay. DuBois County. Okay, this is Gateway 2.0 now. I feel like I'm in the way, but I can't get too much further away. Do you want to switch your spots? All right, so then I have set it up so that every one of you will, when we get a 1782 notice with our tax rates, they're getting ready to give us, before they give us a budget order, they give us a 1782 notice, kind of laying out if we want to make any changes, we have 10 days. So I have set it up so that all of you will get email. Now, it used to just be Mike and I, now they've changed it, so every one of you will get notification of that 1782 notice. You don't have to do anything with it. Mike and I will have to do something with it. If you guys sign it and send it back, that binds us, so you don't want to do that. So just kind of,
Good to know.
it's for information for you only.
Take my email strong,
Is it?
take the P out of there.
All right, I'll have to do that. I think we have you aliased both ways. You probably don't even know that. But in our system, I think you have 2 emails under the same account. But I will look at that. Okay, then it asks a bunch of unit questions, and then we're gonna go into the Form 1. Well, we do current year financials is where we're at right now. What kind of balance do we have? What kind of budget are we still doing? What kind of additional appropriations are we gonna ask for all the funds? That's in the current year financial. Then we go into budget 1 is, Form 1 is what your real budget is. I can get to the right market. So our new financial software feeds all this information in. We used to have to hand enter it. Now it feeds it in when Brooke does it in the Lao system. Then it takes that. Form 2 are all the estimated revenues that we think we're gonna have for all the funds. So we go in and estimate what we think we're gonna take in any kind of classification. This is the end of this year, this is all of next year. So we have to estimate all that.
Say that again, you said it was what?
You estimate revenues for the end of this
Oh,
year and all of next year. And it's all those classifications that we think we're gonna take in. And we try to look and be a little conservative, but you don't wanna be so conservative that you can't fund yourself. So, and then the state does change some of it, like if they get better information on your revenues of your riverboat or your financial institution tax, they will fix that,
Who fixes that?
the state,
The state does that?
if they think ours is off. Or, which we're usually pretty close. We haven't gotten the new estimates for some of these, like the lit revenues haven't come out yet. So when they do, we'll update what they send us. Let's go to the next section. So then that all feeds to the 4B. So the 4, why is it, there it goes. Okay, so this is where it's telling us we're over our max levy with what we've proposed right now. That's 1.3, almost 1.4 million. So he's gonna say, he's gonna either cut the tax rate to get us closer to the levy that we're supposed to have, or this is what we're proposing, this is what we get, 11.5. And we're at 12.8, so that's why he's saying we're gonna have to cut this much. But then you get down to the tax rate funds, and if you put in the levies or the tax rates, when you get to the bottom,
When you said cut tax rate, you meant cut tax rate funds, right?
well, the state only looks at your tax rate funds and your levy funds. They don't look at your home rule funds.
Yes.
And these are tax rate funds. Here's your county general fund. If I put in a $10 million levy, it says you gotta cut it can't afford this. You're minus 300,000. So remember the 1 point up the top and this, and that's giving us a December cash balance of 0. And if you want any kind, if you have any, you gotta have an operating balance or you won't pay your bills. So county general, you almost need $1 million to fund that. That's a $20 million budget. You almost need $1 million operating balance just to have cash flow. So that's kind of where I'm recommending, he recommended a $2.5 million cut. You gotta move or cut something in county general to get this budget down. And you can see, this is the operating balance at the end of the year. I've given the park 40,000. I didn't know an operating balance. But their tax rate is gonna double from this year because of the increases in the wages as well. Because their tax rate last year was 0.0032, and I'm recommending 0.0075 just to give them this.
So that's steal from the rest of the
Well, and
entities.
we share revenue. You share a levy. All these funds share a levy.
Okay.
Now, the only difference is, Cume Cap, they give you a credit for that. So you kind of take that one out. But these all share. Your Cume Bridge and your Cume Cap are rate-driven funds. You have to use that rate or you don't get the full amount of money. They set those rates. So you really are only playing with planning, park and rec, health, reassessment in general.
What were the ones that you said that we could get a $300,000? I remember in Form 1, it had in our levies.
You have to put your mental health for your Life Springs and your SERS, you have to put it in this budget and then it gives you a credit. And that's already included in here.
And that's the 300,000?
Hmm?
Is that the 300,000 you're talking about?
Well, you said when Chad was speaking about
Oh, about the SAR.
That's
Is it
CERS.
CERS? We're
Well,
only
that's-
giving them 40 and you said we could give them up to,
Yes, that's CERS, but we only
300,000.
do 40,000, so that's already included. You've already given us that credit, it's somewhere in here. I don't know this thing good enough to know where things are, but it's already in there.
I think it was in the Form 1. It showed it for sure.
But I was just trying to show you where we're at. Now, I could increase this and lower some of these, but you know, you gotta look at their operating balance. Estimated December 26th, these are at the end of this year, what balances we think we're gonna have. County General has a $4 million at the end of this year, and then next year it goes down to no money. So we're depleting the cash we have in that fund. And you can see everybody else's is kind of going down. Cume Bridge, Health Department has 1.2 million, they have healthy balance.
So will this compound every year until 20?
You're expending more than you're taking in, yes. Because we're gonna get less property tax over the next, until 30 or 31. That's why you're gonna have to supplement it with income tax. That's one of your revenues. And that is one of the revenues the county general has right now is lit certified chairs, your old co-op money.
What would property tax be percentage wise of the revenue, 35%? Home County?
I don't,
I don't know, I 35-40%, I was thinking. It's the biggest one.
of lit property tax or lit?
Property tax would be the biggest revenue source.
I don't know that off the top of my head.
I'm asking, I don't know. I think so. And it seems like that would be why it's getting affected so much, and it's gonna keep getting worse. And like you said, then you'll shift the burden to the lit.
Right. Because if I go back to the revenues, I mean, we do estimate. Gotta get to the top.
So a lot of counties raising lit tax already, or increasing it, I should say, not
I-
raising it.
I cannot answer that.
Okay,
Um,
for the 2027
See,
budget.
like, we estimate next year we're gonna take in 4.6 in local income shares just in county general. So we gotta make sure this number stays or goes higher. Because that's your certified shares. Now,
Did you run any scenarios with like a 0.1% increase on estimated revenue increase from that?
for the lit?
Yeah.
No, I did not. But that's what we have to look at when we do our lit tax, is how much do we depend on
Right,
and how much do we need to keep funding?
And how little, if you do have to increase it, could you get away with to say hold at the bare minimum?
Right.
because just like the veterans benefit, they're, of not, tax,
Yeah.
property tax, I mean, this is all gonna continue to hit the
But now, if we take EMS out of this, if we, and move ambulance out of county general and put it into its own EMS lit fund, and that's answers I don't have yet. Can you continue to put it here, or are you gonna have to move some of these expenses into another fund? But that's what we're gonna have to look at.
I think that business personal property exemption is just, you just can't
That $2
imagine how much
million
revenue, 2 millions. I mean, that's a self-assessment on those tractors and stuff. I don't know a lot of guys assessing over 2 million on equipment. That's every farm. In Connect, we've got 750 operational with, I don't know what the income level or revenue generation level he called it, but it was in the early 90s, it was 900 something, now it's 750, all gone.
You could tell,
That's a
I
ton of
mean,
money.
It's worse.
And I'm just talking about farms because that's what I think about. It's a small business thing for personal business property. A lawnmower guys, anybody that's got any equipment, machinery, there are certain structures that fit, like if they can move, or like grain bins, I have to write those down. It's a ton of money. We're not gonna, I mean, I like the relief, but I think in a couple of years, I just don't understand how this is gonna work.
You think that's set in stone already? Or you think that, the governor, the day what I read is he's still looking, there's so many people upset with this. And it's most of the elected officials sitting in our seats.
The local guys, but I think the senior relief and the veteran relief absolutely won't be overturned. And that's a lot of money too.
It is, but that you're probably correct.
And then everybody wants to know what these new type of industrial solar things, how that business personal property is going to be taxed and what kind of money. And then I don't have any answers.
If they get the exemption too, it gets $2 million off the right away.
And then I think Angie was saying the panels are real property. I don't remember everything that she presented, but there's a lot of unknowns in that you asked her the other day when she was here, and then the solar batteries, because they're modular, they can be moved. So in my mind, I want to think they're business.
I think she said all the fencing and any type of building improvements, but I thought the solar panels and the sticks, and the
Real.
supports are gonna be personal property,
Well,
is what I thought. She said, no, we, as council members, we can't get into this, they'll just email us the information, is that what you're saying, okay?
This is Gateway. This is where we input all the, I have to put in all the,
We don't have access, as council members, we don't have access to that takes the code or whatever, or somebody in the, or
yeah, this is just us working through.
Okay.
I mean, they've totally changed it.
This is another part of budget that you guys don't normally see.
We see business, well, let's do both.
Right, and that's kind of what, I mean, it's, Gateway 2.0 is brand new this year. 1.0 was a lot simpler and a lot less interactive.
but it could be amended, Mike, because the thing that surprised me was this year, we still filled out the assessments and the depreciation schedule like normal. So that tells me, okay, they want to keep a record of this, even though you're exempt, they're still keeping the record. And maybe if they say, okay, we are going to do that on the personal property, then they have that baseline that they can go straight back to and say, okay, we're going to tax that lower rate, but you're still getting taxed. That's what I'm thinking. Why else would you go through all the trouble, Angie? I said, all those paperworks,
Well, I think, didn't it have to be kind of like a final?
or is it the final one? I don't know.
I kind of think, that's the way I read this story, that there's so many people that can't make it, like I think Sandy said, most people are getting 1% or no raises this year, in the county.
A real thing that's going on too, and I mean, it's totally, may not happen, but there's literally people going around promoting no property taxes.
Yeah.
And if we wouldn't have, but I mean, seriously, if we would get that, it would be all sales tax
And income.
and income tax. But
You're definitely, right now with us being 1.2, we definitely get 2.9. You'd have no choice.
instantly,
You'd have no choice. You couldn't fund yourself.
but it's a real thing, and I don't think the people that are doing this would get to do it unless somebody gave them, okay, you can't just go around saying this is gonna happen unless there's potential for it. I don't want to scare anybody, but it's a true thing that happens.
And then if we have a bad recession, then where do we go? Because people quit spending and they don't make as much. So I mean, that's,
Income tax is not as reliable as property tax. And so your bond ratings are gonna go down.
it's inconsistent income.
And income tax is historically what a few states have gotten rid of. I've never heard of a state, unless I'm wrong, that doesn't have property taxes. I'm sure there is one, but I don't know of it. You could do the Florida, Tennessee model maybe on the income.
We don't have the tourism and stuff that some of those states have. Tennessee is probably a good example, but boy, when you go to a restaurant, you pay about 10% tax on it,
And state income tax keeps going down each year too,
Yeah, I know.
every year.
Are there any home rule, home rule,
That I don't know.
that we
The
can
state
employ? I know we don't do public safety tax. And I'm not saying I'm for that, I'm just asking if there are other home rule funds available.
We do have several home rule funds, and maybe that's where we need to move some expenses if we can. Let's see what I can find here. Like I said, it takes a little bit.
Yeah, and it's different than this.
So,
He's
so
got-
you could, these are your tax funds,
It's
yeah.
same
Concept.
Your highway, your local road, street.
Yeah.
That's really helpful.
And those are the ones who currently have an active.
I looked at it yesterday evening.
And then you'll get to the home rule here in a minute.
That's really nice.
The way I can say his income is here, and here. Or his
It's
his
this,
income, but
this, and
his
this.
wages are here, and here. Cause he's got it so spread out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send it when I get home, well, I can send it to you probably.
Seems like earlier here I had asked about, one of our home rules, because I think, if you weren't at the maximum, there was some window of opportunity that already passed us, that we could increase it, but I can't remember. how-
We've always been at our max. We've been at our max levy
Can't remember.
within dollars. I mean, sometimes it'll say $48 or something, but it's,
Yeah, it was,
where was that?
So.
So-
or are there any?
I've been waiting, cause he's on the master.
So I have to go back and look through my
Sleep,
suite.
that's how to begin with.
But are there any that we could have that we don't have currently?
funds that we could have.
Wheel tax for the county?
We have surtax and wheel tax. We've had it since the 80s.
What would that be another common one?
Yeah, I mean, there are counties that just instituted it so they could and get other funds like community crossings and all that grants. But we've had ours since probably 1986 or 89 or something like that.
But can you increase it though? I mean,
I don't know that answer.
So public safety,
we go over to the two that come to mind.
But those are all income.
Public safety.
and
That's income, that is changing. Income tax is changing.
Yeah, we didn't do the food and beverage, Jasper did, we didn't.
yeah, just for the,
You know, this with the new tax system, public safety tax is gonna go away,
Yes.
and
It is going to
it's
go
gonna be in
Well-
this other.
It's all in the new bucket of the lit money. That's what we have to do through the must.
I mean, it's gonna go away
So
in a
it's
year or
just
two.
absorbed with
What do you think,
no.
replace it?
Yes,
What?
that's what the.
That's what the must committee, we have to
Oh,
decide what we're gonna do.
Section, I got must.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're taking away the bucket, the individual buckets and
Putting, everybody's gonna pay for it, that's what's, the cities and towns, and everybody's gonna pay for that
now,
under an income.
under the must, we have to determine how much is gonna be for public safety, how much we're gonna tax as a county, and then the cities can tax their residents on top of that. They don't make enough.
And right now they pay city and county taxes anyway, so.
Is there a cap on that?
2.9%.
So for the combined, so we get to choose and they have to go.
Well, we all have to consensus
Okay.
when we make our recommendation, but then that's not binding. And in 28, you guys have to adopt rates that will go into effect in 29.
Early on, when we were going through some of those classes, or the one that was held here in Jasper, I remember seeing maps and I thought for some reason Du Bois County was falling into that neutral zone to where it wasn't going to adversely affect us, these new rulings, but I'm feeling something different here now.
Now, when Mike and I went through the training with Jamie looking at our data, she kind of showed us different scenarios. And then she also mentioned maybe we could even capture some income tax for the TIF money that we're losing. But we haven't got that far. But we just played, she played with a whole bunch of scenarios and it was like mind-boggling.
And that's what's gonna have to be done to some extent to make sure that we're whole, But you know, it's gotta come, you know, taxes come from somebody, you know, if it's income tax or, you know, somebody's gotta pay it.
Well, and that is exactly what I've said before. You can cut property taxes, but if you don't have enough to fund, you gotta cut services somewhere.
In this day and age, it's hard to cut a lot of services because they're, you know, I think county government is pretty
Efficient.
efficient government and, you know, you start
People have a
cutting
certain expectation as well, it's really hard to go backwards and something like that.
Right. And that's what I've said. Do you want your ambulance to come at night if you need them?
Right.
Do you want the fire truck to come at night if you need them? Do you want 911 to answer your call? I mean, I know that's kind of extreme, but it's,
But it's a practical way to understand what the discussion
Right.
is.
Do any of our general departments, do any of them have other perpetual type funds or ancillary funds that they can maybe utilize to offset some of what we need to?
I'd say we have some funds
I
like
know
that.
every department's different, but I didn't know if that would be something they could look at as well.
You know, if department heads have something that they can move a person to this for, that would help. I know it would take money and maybe next year you'd have to put them somewhere else, but that would help.
on a short-term basis, a year or so, you know,
Right.
otherwise you're gonna have that perpetuation fund used up.
Right.
Because you can't replace it that fast.
Right.
I mean, that's the problem with it, long term.
But I set this up where if you don't accept data centers or solar parks for tax revenue, you may financially bust. It almost seems like that, like you have to take these big projects on that are coming everywhere. And if you do get aggressive and the people don't want them, you can do a moratorium and not let them happen, but then if you don't, then you may just financially ruin. Is that possible? They're trying to do that?
Sure sounds like.
You're out of my
Good point.
I'm
expertise.
serious. Because the revenue generation from them, when you read it, sounds impressive from northern Indiana, but do you have to do that to survive now?
Well, you still can only grow by the growth quotient, which our growth quotient this year, or for next year, is 6%. So your levy can only grow 6%. So if you put 6% on, what did I say ours was, 10 million, 9.5? I mean, that's not that much. 500 some thousand maybe. That's the only new money you can generate with taxes.
Like at the comprehensive plan, you know, that one data center is giving them so much money, you know, they're just paying it like pilot money or whatever you wanna call it. And then they say, the mayor said, or the county said, nobody has to pay water and sewer bills anymore, we're gonna pay for them with this money. You know, all the residents.
Yeah.
You know, I'm saying, it's
I know,
just,
it's
big,
almost like
it's big money,
funneling that way.
you know.
Like a
But you know, just like,
Incentive to let us come.
I think what,
Right.
It's like an incentive to let us come.
right.
With the free water, do you want to drink it anymore after?
There you go.
Good point. Like Holton says, you know, when he told us, you know, look at some of the power. that-
He's still back there. You just don't see him.
Well, I was gonna say, the power and the water and utilities, these things take, we don't even have it here. So they gotta build something to, you know, so I just don't see it.
The power companies in Indiana have a duty to provide the power. The timeline that they're on is up in the air, right? But I mean, if you plant a stake in the ground and say you're building it, the power companies have a duty to serve that power
Do they?
requested requirements.
But we don't know what our electric bill's gonna be.
Exactly, you gotta have ratepayer protection in there, or
We're not pursuing them today. It's not to say we never will, but we're not pursuing them today. But if somebody acquires the land and plants a stake, the power companies have a requirement by statute to provide the power. You get to the water question, but I mean,
Water isn't becoming as bad, but the electric is phenomenal, the usage.
they build transmission lines every day and
They
substations
do,
every
and I
day.
think they know they're coming because they've been building for the last 15 years around me, everywhere. And they're doing it, they're not just doing it for a couple of homes that have been built, I can assure you.
Is there anything else there that's important to the council as far as the gateway?
No, I just kind of wanted to give you
Yeah, I
a quick
appreciate that.
overview.
You know, that's great. and we'll get an email when something changes, because one of the things that on the MUS committee is this income, the personal income tax, so, that's an important
We're
number.
expecting them to put out the revenue estimate anytime, they just haven't.
So that's gonna be a next important thing. It's supposed to come in
Now,
mid-August.
I guess I should have showed you the property tax cap. Let's see, it's planned here. Here's our estimated loss from property tax caps and credits on there. So county general is almost 800,000 that we're gonna lose through those caps. The whole county is 1.3 million? 1,460,000 is our total tax cap estimate.
For the whole
Is
county.
that lost?
That's what they estimate us losing due to circuit breakers and credits now, instead of deductions, it's credits.
So about what they're saying we should cut.
Well, that's what we're gonna lose just by circuit breaker caps, the 1%, 2%, 3% cap. Your age deduction, or age credits now, your veteran credits now. They used to be deductions, now they're credits. So you have to build that in here, otherwise you're not gonna get the money you thought you needed it to begin with. So that's why you put that in there. And you take these levies and put it into a spreadsheet, and then it gives you what you're gonna lose, so you have to put that in there.
The 4% AV, I guess, assessed value. Will we meet that here? Have we grown the county?
The 6% levy,
No, 4%. I thought we could, it's 4% in it, or for 2027?
You mean the ML?
the levy growth quotient, it's
That's
6% for 27.
Okay. So-
That's your new money, that's,
So is that figured in here?
well,
If we have to have that growth.
yes, because they give you that, up in here. It's all estimated
Okay,
in your growth quotient of your levy.
okay,
This is our levy, this is what we have right now, so we're over.
okay.
But you have to estimate it high, so if there's any issues or problems, the state can bring you down, they can't bring you up. So you estimate it a little high. But then your assessed value is down here. Right down here. 2.89. Our real AV is 3.4, and you use that with your rate funds, and then you use 80%, so that if there's any errors out there, if there's any deductions or something got assessed wrong, that's a cushion. The law lets you use 20 or 2%, or last year's 80%.
More sleepless nights, that's all I can say.
But I asked Robert if I was using, and he agreed that I should use the numbers I'm using, so. So you can tell, like the county generals, this is our tax rate, 0.3459. Last year it was 0.2385, so you can tell that's way too high. They're gonna cut it down. Which means we'll take in less money, which means that zero number is gonna go higher. That's why you gotta get that high. We gotta cut. If we don't cut it, he's gonna put it in our budget order that we have to. He's gonna mandate us to cut something.
Okay. So. Is that all?
Any other questions?
Questions for anybody?
Did
I
he
just
get,
wanted to give you something that you could see.
did he get to feel how many other people are dealing with this?
He really didn't, but he said Du Bois County will do it because we always know how to do it, we know what to do, and we have money. We're lucky, some counties don't have the money that we've had
why a lot of counties are probably not having raises,
That's right.
because they don't have the money to do the raises.
They did, all the auditors, have an email chain, and a lot of them said, what raises are you predicting? And we were the highest. But I didn't, I just told them we're following our wage study.
Right.
Or some of them are saying 1%, some of them are saying 2%, some of them are saying none.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. It's good. So do you, Brooke, do you go into Gateway also, or is that just one individual or two individuals?
There's 3 of us.
3 of you?
It's Sandy, Brenda, and I.
Okay.
They don't have as much as I can see other units, and I can, in the county, they can.
Okay.
And they can't submit anything, and I have to be the submitter.
Okay.
Everyone probably has their own username and password.
They have their own username and password that they can only see Du Bois County.
That's
Mine,
what
as
it's-
auditor, I can see all the units.
Yes,
She
that's what
gives us
keeps you
admin.
restricted is
Yeah.
your specific.
She gives us rights.
The non-binding reviews, I've signed them all with no changes, so that's good. Is there anything else? So wants to discuss or at this point? We'll meet again in 1 year. 8 o'clock. Again, so go through the rest of the budget. I will get you the information for your great very cheap. Just give that. I mean, we'll get it. This is, I don't know if this is a rough draft. I think he's got the draft better. I can put you on the email if you want to get it.
Yeah, if you don't
Or
mind,
you can
because
add-
if he's got numbers on there that I don't have,
I'll do that.
because we've been asking.
I don't think I just quickly checked it. He didn't change a whole lot. I think he was waiting for a grant.
He's waiting for grant approval.
Yeah, on that one, so I will send it to you. I didn't want to do it today, a few days, because I've been busy, but do the first part, yeah. So is there, do you have any other business? Sandy,
I don't today.
does the council have any other business? We'll discuss. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Doug's got that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Maybe we weren't supposed to close the meeting. Because we got carried on the 18th.
They're gonna start again.
Yeah.
It's part of the same.
Yeah.